So in the world now of, a game being released with 2 characters and you got about the other 40 on DLC, what what is common things that are DLC nowadays that shouldn't be DLC? There's so many things that's released from DLC as far as skins, characters. I mean, you've heard me talk before of the abomination that we had to get Sagat and Akuma in DLC for Street Fighter 5, but it'd be like that sometimes. And other things that they release as DLC. What to you is just like, man, this shouldn't be DLC. I shouldn't have to pay for this. This should just come with the game. So starting with you, MC Maze, and let us know what you think.
One thing that has always been kind of weird to me is sometimes you can't always have this stuff in the game immediately, but I think like when you have like music tracks, you know what I mean? Like music tracks, especially if music, not even like saying like, like music that they just made. I'm talking about music from past games and stuff, if they say, oh, we're going to add like music from, like if you're playing like Soul Calibur 6 and they're like, okay, well, we're going to actually, in our next DLC pack, we're going to add music from like Soul Calibur 3. And I'm like, what? I mean, why is that like a DLC thing? Like it's one thing if you're going to say like, it's one thing if you're just going to say, hey, here it is, you can have it. But there's a whole different story if you say, all right, we're going to give you the whole soundtrack to play in the game from Soul Calibur 3, but you got to give us $15 for it. I'm like, nah, I'm not feeling that. I don't like that at all, because it's like if you were making like new music or whatever, okay, cool. If you made like a whole new soundtrack and said, guys, we're gonna put our whole new brand spanking new soundtrack that we just made, and it's like remixes of the current thing, and it's like like got
Street Fighter 5 is just doing.
I mean, kind of, right? Like it's I'm kind of okay with that, maybe. But like, I wouldn't pay $15 for it, and I definitely wouldn't want to pay $15 or $20 or any, not really money at all for like old like soundtracks and stuff. You know what I mean? From older games and stuff. And I guess I'm kind of spoiled because like in Tekken Tag 2, remember? In Tekken Tag 2, the game just came with all the music from all the old games from
Tekken. What was it called? The mode for that?
Oh, what was it? The
Tekken Jukebox.
Yeah, I think that was it, right?
Yeah, jukebox mode. Yeah.
They did that. They did that in Tekken Tag 2 and Tekken 7 on the PlayStation, on PlayStation 4. But like, which was kind of messed up. So if you didn't buy the game on PS4, you just had to deal with like having the normal music, which wasn't bad. But the whole point is you like having the options. I like having the options to change the soundtrack, especially to to older things from Tekken 2, Tekken 3, Tekken 4, There are so many Tekken games that you could pick and choose like the soundtracks from, and like you just match them up, and some of them match up pretty well, especially considering the fact that every stage technically gets 2 tracks, right? There's the normal, and then there's like the kind of like at the end when somebody's about to lose, where it like starts getting kind of hype and stuff like that. Like I remember, what was it? On the one area that is like the roof of G Corporation at night, it's like the first like few rounds for me are Authentic Sky from Tekken 4. But then when it gets to like the last round, it switches to Midtown. I think what is it called? Midtown Madness. If anybody remembers, it's that one stage in Tekken 6 where there's like lightning and the like helicopters are crashing and stuff. Like if you've never heard that track before, it's awesome, and it's really like gets you really ramped up, man. So yeah, I would say for me, like soundtrack like is, man, in some cases half the experience for me, to be honest. Like I love a good OST. Like stepping outside of fighting games for a second, Unlimited Saga for me is mostly made by the soundtrack. If you've never played Unlimited Saga, don't play it. But go on to YouTube and go look up the OST for Unlimited Saga. It is phenomenal. It is one of the best video game soundtracks I've ever heard in my life. Masashi Hamauzu is like, I mean, if you were ever in doubt of Masashi Hamauzu being a complete genius, that OST will wipe away any kind of doubt you had about that. But I'm going off on a tangent, but like I'm gonna just say that I would say that soundtracks, I think those should, especially from older games, should be included in newer games so people have options and stuff. You know, if I have to unlock it with in-game currency, cool, but don't make me pay for it, please. That's it.
Hey man, OSTs. I can go on all the day about OSTs myself, especially like RPG OSTs. But I'll say my answer for what I think shouldn't be DLC, and Rexon, I think this was going to be yours. Colors. That has to be one of the greatest crimes in modern fighting games, is the fact that colors are DLC, which is wild to me, because if we go back to like the 2000s era of fighting games, it's like you had multiple colors for, especially anime games. Anime games back in the day, you had multiple colors for characters. And I think maybe I'm trying to think like what was one of the first games to really start charging for colors. Because if I think like when I think games with really good color modes, Persona 4 Arena, I think for the most part, most of the colors starting off were free. I think they charge for some later, but the ones that you get at base, they're pretty good. Mm-hmm. Street Fighter Cross Tekken with its color edit mode. I mean, the neon colors and whatnot, they were fugly, but they were this fact that we had, that's like the only Street Fighter game I could think of that actually had a color edit mode. I mean, that was cool. King of Fighters 13 had a really cool color edit mode. Yeah. King of Fighters 13 probably had one of the best ones, because you could customize like individual pieces of your character's outfit. And Melty Blood has it too, but it doesn't have the amount of colors that KOF 13 had, so it's not quite the same. But yeah, colors should not be locked behind a paywall. I'm sorry. Something as basic as colors, I could see if there were like some kind of premium color that were meant to like represent something, kind of like what Capcom does with the tracksuits, where they're meant to be like the Capcom colors for that and whatnot.
Right.
Or like the Intel colors that because they're meant to be used for the Intel Open. So I get that. Like, I guess if you're going to charge for colors, but that's also a costume, so it's not quite the same thing. But still, I don't know how it's justified. I don't think anyone can justify to me why colors are locked behind a paywall. Costumes and characters, I could see that, because that requires extensive development time depending on how the game is made. But colors? Come on now. You can't tell me that requires like a lot of effort to just add a color to a game, and that's something that we should be forced to pay for. I would say this: if you are going to have colors as DLC, at least start us out with a decent amount in the beginning. Like at least have like 15 colors per character or something like that. That, in my opinion, or at least not even 12. I'll say 15. I think 15 there should be 15 colors. Not every game needs to have 15 colors, but I think that for a lot of anime games, because anime games are known as the ones that have like a lot of colors, they need to have at least 15 off rip, in my opinion. Blaze Blue was really bad about, not Blaze Blue, but Grand Blue, when it came out, it was really bad about only having a few colors, and they locked all the others behind a paywall. And they were the cool colors too. That's my thing too, is that a lot of times they take the cool colors and they lock those behind a paywall, and all the kind of less favorable colors are the standard ones. But
say what you mean, man. The whack color.
The stale
ones. The whack colors. But anyway, that's my take on it, is that colors should not be behind a paywall. They colors should not be DLC.
Yeah.
Well, you're right. That was mine also. Colors, man. I can remember back playing Street Fighter 5, not Street Fighter 5. Street Fighter Alpha 3.
I remember back in the days of 2016 when I played Street Fighter 5.
That's right, you all. We're in 2060. You just don't know it. But yeah, I can remember back playing Street Fighter Alpha 3, and Ken was, of course, my favorite Shoto. He's the best Shoto. But yeah, so he used to have like all his different colors that I used to love to shuffle through, and it would be like different colors for different moves. Like if somebody called you out and you wanted to get serious and style on them, you always get the white. You always get the King with the white, because you like, look, you ain't even gonna get me dirty. I'm finna put on my white. I'm finna thrash you real quick. Just rough you up in the yard back there in the mansion real quick. If somebody was putting on a challenge and you was like, all right, he dirtying up my clothes a little bit. Let me go ahead and, you're a little bit tougher than I thought. You'll go ahead and put on the red, or you put on the blue. So colors for us, we used to have fun with colors, you know, different colors for different moods, you know, different things you were trying to do. And just now that colors are behind like a paywall, like Terance said, I mean, you know, Terance said they should get 15 each. Shoot, I want all mine. I want, like Chris Jones will say, 30 of them each character. I want 30 of them minimum, you know.
I know who you're talking
So,
about.
yeah, 30 minimum. You know, yeah, Terrence sounded like he was finna sound like Allen Iverson when he was talking about practice, like colors, really colors. We talking about colors, you know.
Colors.
How you justify putting that behind a paywall? We talking about colors. But yeah, that's the same thing for me. Like colors should not be behind a paywall. I agree. Different costumes, like you know, right now with KOF 15, they just released Omega Rugal or Rugal, however y'all pronounce it. Don't kill me. But they have it to where actually I think someone said if you beat Omega Rugal with Rugal, you actually get that costume. You know, it's not the actual character, but you get the actual costume for regular Rugal. So I think stuff like that is cool. I mean, that's another way of not having to pay for it because Omega Rugal is free DLC. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, I just don't think colors should be behind a paywall. I mean, it's pointless. I mean, separate costumes and stuff like that, I get it. But colors, like if I just want to go from red to green, I gotta pay $2.
That's
Like, come on, man. So that's my answer. Anybody else got anything more to add?